Hi everyone, welcome back to Creatively Crafted Life. This is Melanie, and today we are breaking down the Samantha Rose paper pad from Die Cuts with a View. For those of you that have been following me for a while, you know I don't like to keep my paper pads in pad form as a general rule, just because I don't remember to go and look at them. Instead, I much prefer to make little page kits, if you will, or really it's about 3 to 4, maybe a little bit more papers that I've coordinated or pre-picked so that when I'm ready to do a layout, they're ready to go. And I don't usually add embellishments or anything like that in there because as they're only intended for 1 or 2 layouts, I would prefer not to have all my other supplies tied up in these kits, if that makes sense. Plus it also makes storing them a little bit easier. So let's see what I did with this paper pad. So I usually start with a multicolored piece of cardstock, and I usually start at the very beginning with my most favorite pieces. This one has some succulents and flowers in them. It's a really pretty paper. So I paired this up with this geometric aqua. Let's see how that looks. And then also a geometric in the pink. Now, normally I don't like to put 2 geometric patterns together, but in this case, I think I'm okay. The scale of this is a little bigger than this one, and this has got foiling on it, so it's quite a bit different. And then I added with this blue kind of mixed media looking paper. I think that just makes everything pop. Just a quick peek at the back sides, which of course are always an option, but I did pick them for the front. This paper pad does come with 2 of most papers. I think there may be a couple that only have 1. Here is that same floral, but this time I paired it with a blue geometric and this aqua kind of distressed watercolor look. And I also paired it with another background kind of paper in this blue. Now the reason why I put this one in here is because it is a lot lighter than this one, and I think it just brightens everything up because these all tend to read a little more solid. There's not a lot of white. I think this one definitely helps make everything pop. And that is the back side. The next kit starts with this floral paper, and it's primarily pink with a little bit of yellow and some foiling, just a little bit. So I paired that with a yellow geometric. I really like that, but it does need a little bit of contrast. I threw it in with this kind of marbly colored background just to break this up a little bit. So if you put it there, you'll see that this little bit of darker tone helps separate these papers. Of course, down here it does get to be a little bit light, but we can definitely make this work. And also to further add contrast, I threw in this wood grain. I really like this one. It's soft and pretty. And that is the back side. Okay, this is a blue and aqua succulent paper. That was my inspiration. I paired that with the dark blue geometric. I really like that combination, as well as this gray dot, which I thought just worked perfectly. So for the second sheet, I took it in a little bit of a different direction. I paired it up with the aqua geometric. So these are both very light, but this does read a little more solid than this one. And this same kind of marbly print, but this time in the blue. And it does have a little bit of aqua in there. And I threw in this dark gray with the foiling, and I really like this one too. The next kit uses one of these pages that has the border along the bottom. I struggle a little bit with these just because I never know how to put the papers exactly. So usually when I have this type of paper, I will often just treat this like a border. And so I will often have it like going off a page or something like that. So imagine this cut off. Or I will trim it out and tuck photos underneath. They're a little bit more challenging, but I am going to give it a try. So I did pair it with this aqua kind of watercolor background and then this wood grain. And I do like the combination of this. I think this is really quite pretty. So for the second sheet, I paired it with this pink geometric and that same kind of blue marble kind of paper, and another wood grain, but this time the wood grain is more pinky toned than gray toned. There is also a small floral page in here, which is really pretty. It is primarily pink with a little bit of the blue and yellow. So I paired it with this yellow dot, and I really like the look of this one. To add a little bit of contrast, I paired it with the gray wood grain. And because this one does come with cut-aparts, I threw in this sheet of cut-aparts with it. I think there's enough pieces in here that I can make this work. The back side is more of that yellow dot, ironically. It's like lots of cut-aparts if I want them. Or I've got lots of yellow, depending on which way you want to look at it. Here's another yellow. And the last kit is that same small floral. I paired it with the yellow geometric and this kind of distressed background in the peachy pink, and I think that one looks really great as well. And the back side of this happens to be all gray. What didn't make its way into a kit is one of the foiled pink. The back side is this purpley lace. This will go in my stash just under pink. And then I have two of these ombre that go from purple to like a yellow, and the back sides of these are marble, and I prefer the ombre, so I think that's what's going to happen. These are just going to go in my background section of my 12 by 12 cardstock. So that is the Samantha Rose paper pad and how I broke it down. I will add a tab to the top on this cover with the name of the collection, and then this will go in a bin where I store all of my paper pads by paper pad, ironically, but by manufacturer. And you're probably going to say, then why did you break down the paper pad? Well, as I mentioned at the beginning, I find it much easier to have papers already pre-selected. And so when I have it in the bin, I'm just looking typically at the front inspiration sheet and finding something that works with the photos that I'm working on, versus having to pull out a paper pad, flip through it, figure out what works, etc. You get the idea, right? I'm just streamlining my process is basically my goal. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this review of Samantha Rose by Die Cuts with a View, and until next time, happy crafting.